So Yuna's got like, just to give a play-by-play, like a whole page of notes.
No, not a whole page of notes. It's just one
she
note
she meticulously
can fit in the Excel.
Meticulously worked on
No,
day and night since the last episode.
Yeah. So you can always have the right information from this podcast.
Because that's why people come to this podcast, is for right information.
Exactly. So do your own research. Take your own risk. We're just talking here for fun.
For whose fun, we're not sure. I think it's just ours, but
yeah,
that's
just
okay.
ours.
That's
so
right.
if you feel fun, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too.
No, if you don't, get out. We don't want you. No fun allowed here. Only fun here. Hey, this is Matt.
And this is Yuna.
And this is our brand new podcast called All We Do Is Watch the Olympics Now and Get No Work Done.
Exactly.
So welcome to episode 1 of this podcast, because that's pretty much all we've done the last week.
No.
Don't tell our bosses.
Don't tell our bosses. We actually do our work. We just watch the Olympics in our break time.
Yeah, so we do work.
Yes, we do 100%.
That's generous.
Yes, it is 100%.
Anyway, yes.
I stand by my ground. I'm not sure about Matt, but I'm definitely 100%.
Depends on which event is on.
That's true.
If Australia's in, we have to call an audible on that. Anyway, this is the latest episode of Our 3 Things, an episode where myself, Matt, and my lovely partner, Yuna, talk about 3 joyful things that we're happy about for this week.
Yes.
To bring some light to this dark and dreary world.
Exactly.
There's going to be a lot of Olympics talk this week. But I think looking at our list, we've tried to sort of sandwich in a bit of non-Olympics, but we've seriously been like on that nonstop this week. While also doing our work, of course.
Yes, doing our work 100%.
Yep. But there is some of that. So look forward to that. And let's just jump into it because I'm super excited about your first thing. Yuna.
Me too.
What is your first thing this week?
I'm super excited about, I'm like, it's just really enjoyable for me for my first thing. My first thing is the Olympic Games table tennis commentator, Adam Bobrow. So he's my number one things on my list. And let me explain what I'm happy about.
Please.
What I feel joyful about him, right? To be honest, before yesterday, I have no idea who is Adam Bobrow. If you don't know who he is, Google him. So Bobrow is announcer of table tennis as well as a competitive player as well. Mm-hmm. But why he brings so much joy, right, is I have been following table tennis for most of the Olympics, right? Because obviously China is really great at this game.
Maybe not everybody knows that. So how dominant is China in table tennis?
We have the gold and silver. So
for how many years?
For a very, very long time. So okay, so put that aside, right? The joyful thing is about the commentator. Is Matt doesn't usually watch table tennis that much. The whole reason he started watching that because I was watching a Chinese player to play, right? And Matt started noticing there's a really goofy, funny commentator when he commenting the table tennis game, and he's trying to throw these jokes and the background of these employees. These table tennis players. These table tennis players, and the way he described how they play and their nickname, just so much fun. And China has a number 1 top player called Ma Long, and you know when table tennis player, they sometimes when they play, they like to blow air to clear the dust on the paddle, right? He just said, well, you can't really blow to the paddle, but if it's dragon breath, that's fine. Because Ma Long, his Chinese name Long actually means dragon. Mm-hmm. So that's why he make these kind of jokes. And it's just really fun to see him call the people's nickname and how they get it. And from his admiration of the sports and the way he describes it. It just makes you more exciting and want to understand, want to enjoy and watch this game. And that, I think that's what Matt's watching as well, because the commentating is so much fun. And to be honest, I have the choice to watch the Chinese channel to broadcast it, right? But it's just different flavor. For me, watching the table tennis, a competitive sport, as well as listen Adam Burrows commentating, it's just really exciting and brings a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think like for anyone who's watching a lot of Olympics or who has in the past, a lot of the commentating, it can vary from hardly there at all and sort of like almost like getting in the way to just sort of relatively, it could be informative, but just sort of dry. Like a good example is I was trying to watch sailing this year, which I know nothing about. And the commentating, like he was very informative, but it was basically, I could have just been listening to like a text to speech explaining the game. But this guy in table tennis, it's so much different.
He is actually one of the most colorful commentators at the Tokyo Olympics. And when you see him, you will understand it.
Yeah, I would recommend looking up some videos. Yeah, my other little favorite thing he does, so one thing that happens in table tennis is if there's a bit of sweat on the that gets on the table, there's a team of volunteers who come in and wipe it off because that can affect the ball's trajectory or whatever.
Yeah.
And anytime they came in, he started referring them to the nickname of the sweat squad. And whenever they ran in, he would go, "Oh, hashtag sweat squad is here," and he made up a little like theme song for it. I'll find a video and put it in the show notes because it's super cute and really funny.
Yeah, it's just super cute and really fun and just take away the seriousness of the game, but in the meantime, you also enjoy it, and it's just really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I strongly recommend that because I think we still have the table tennis group competition in the next few days, and I believe he's still the commentator for English-speaking country. So just watch it. Like you would love it because we have been watching so many games and so many commentators. He's just very unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Very fun, very fun. Definitely will make you laugh, even if you don't watch table tennis. So that's my first thing.
Cool.
Yeah. And what's your first thing, Matt?
So my first thing is also Olympics related. So I'm a big since I've moved to Australia, I really enjoy watching Australian sports teams because they're just so scrappy and so fun to watch, and there's a lot of you can tell the passion for the sports. So my first thing is actually something specific about them, and that is the naming of the Olympic sports teams that Australia sends to the Olympics.
It's so cute.
Yeah, they're super cute. And I could just read through them and say, oh, isn't this interesting? Oh, this is cute and funny. But I wanted to make it a little more interactive for this one. So I made up a little game. This is one of our first
game show?
game show, our first little game segment.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find some funny, kitschy background music to put in.
Yeah.
Some Jeopardy music or something.
Yeah.
Note to future self, do some fun post-production on that. See if it happens. So Yuna, this is called Australian Teen Names, Real or Not.
Okay, yeah.
Probably need to think of a better name for the game. But I have a list of both real team names that the Australian have, and they have different ones for each sport for the ones that they have. And then I also have some that I've made up on my own.
I think I'm able to tell.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay.
And you're not allowed to use your computer. You can use some of these you've heard mentioned what we've watched this week.
Yeah.
I'm not using my computer. I'm watching you.
No
I'm
cheating.
Looking at Yuna right now.
Yes,
no
and
cheating.
we have a camera rolling in the background.
Yep. Everything's fully monitored and recorded
Exactly.
Here. All right. Are you ready for the first one?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to start you off with the easy one.
Okay.
Is this real or fake?
Okay.
The hockey ruse.
That's real.
Which sport is that?
Hockey.
Nice. Which hockey?
Female?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Yes, I got it right.
All right. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
The Stingrays.
The Stingrays. It's not the swim.
Not the swim. That's right.
It's not the name. I don't think we have Stingrays.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We do?
We do have Stingrays.
The surfing?
No, not the surfing.
The rowing?
You're in the right type of land.
Triathlon.
No. It's actually one that I don't think we've watched any of, but it's the women's water polo.
Oh, water polo. Of course. Makes sense.
Yeah. And they're paired with the sharks for males water polo.
Wow.
So there's two different ones.
Okay.
All right. That's okay. So you're 1 out of 2 so far.
Yes.
50%.
Yeah.
That's almost passing. sort of.
Yeah,
not really.
passing's good.
It's not passing actually, but okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
Next one. Is this real or fake?
Okay.
The fighting dingoes.
Fake.
That is fake.
Yes.
Now, what sport do you think that could be?
Boxing.
That wouldn't be a bad one. Although I don't think dingoes they're not two-legged animals.
Not? Okay.
but still, it does sound like a good boxing game. All right. Okay, next one. This one might be kind of tough, but
okay.
I can give you a hint if you don't know this one. Is this real or fake? The Matildas.
Yeah. It's real.
So now what sport do you think that is?
What sport? I think I've heard it. What sport that is?
I'll give you one lifeline.
Yes.
You want the hint?
Take it.
No hesitation. I was just watching this one late last night.
Last night? You're watching last night?
Mm-hmm.
Let me think.
We had an unexpected victory.
Yes! That's the...
Tone it down.
Female basketball game.
No.
Not the female one?
We lost that one.
Yeah, you lost that one. But we were watching that last night.
We were watching it. No, but it's a different one.
It's a different one? Football.
Yes.
What
female
gender? Football.
Female football.
Yeah.
You got it. All right. So you are, what is this, 3 out of 4? That's pretty good. So that's passing, 75%.
No. Right? Yes, 3 out of 4. Yes.
Don't
passing.
try to cheat me.
It's a distinction.
All right. We're going to do one more and see if you can pull it up into a more respectable grade here.
Yeah.
The Koala Killers.
That's fake.
That is fake.
Yes.
Now, what sport would that be? Could that be?
Rifle?
That's it. Wait, that's kind of depressing. I don't.
I'm sorry.
The meaning of that name was not that they kill the koalas. That the koalas are the killers.
Oh, okay. Judo.
That would be good, actually. That would be a cool name.
That'd be so cute, you know?
I think we actually
have a judo team?
We do have a couple of folks in judo. I don't think they've done very well, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Now this, as a bonus round, this one we heard early on in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you know the irakanjis?
The irakanjis? What is irakanji?
So maybe this is a hint. It is a small jellyfish, very powerful little jellyfish.
Yes. Swim. Men's swim team.
Not swim.
It's not swim. Rowing.
Not rowing. No.
No.
It's a new sport this year.
It's a new sport this year. Oh, canoeing.
No.
No? Canoeing is not new?
No.
Skateboarding.
No. Surfing. We got it. Sorry, this segment was going on a bit too long. We need to wrap it up at some point.
Sorry.
We'll just say you got that one. So what is that? Like 80%? Something like that?
Yeah, 80%.
That's pretty good. All right. So you know your Australian teams.
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
Perfect. I do want to see the Koala Killers as a judo name, though. I didn't even think about that. Definitely not the shooting team.
Sorry.
Poor little koalas. We lost enough of them already.
Yeah, exactly. We need to protect them.
That's my first thing. I just think it's cool that they have so many different names. Some I didn't mention. The Opals are women's basketball.
Yeah.
The men's hockey, the Kookaburras.
Which
is fun.
It's fun. And dolphins.
The Dolphins are the swim teams. Yeah, exactly.
Probably the best team.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely the best for Australia. Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway. So yeah. Just fun to see that. I like that because it brings a sense of like fun and like levity.
I know,
to the
it's
country.
so much fun. I like it. There's one point I was even thinking, are they talking about the national team or it's just some leagues?
Some of them are the national team. I think like the hockey teams are like the Hockeyroos and Kookaburras are the men's and women or women's and men's hockey team.
I wonder if they have like a mascot for each team.
That would be fun. I don't know what a Hockey-roo would be though.
Hockey-roo?
Because they basically just take hockey and add a roo on it.
It would be a kangaroo who has the hockey stick.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be fun, you know? I would buy it.
You would buy the mascot?
Yes.
Souvenir mascot?
Exactly. I would collect all the souvenirs from different teams. That's a very good business idea. They should do that. Probably in the 2032 Olympics in Brisbane. They should have a souvenir for each of the Australian teams.
But what if they listen to this episode and then they get the idea?
Oh.
TM. Trademark. You can't steal this.
You can't steal us. That's our idea.
So that's my first thing. Just a fun little thing.
It's very fun.
It's just, it makes it more fun to follow all the different teams.
Yeah.
By the way, as we're recording this, women's hockey and men's hockey both are undefeated right now. Women's hockey 5-0 in their Olympic run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let's see. Well, we'll see. Maybe we can get a couple gold medals that are not in water. Actually, some on land. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my first thing. Yuna, what is your second thing?
So my second thing is actually about our local business, what they can offer us. So that makes me really grateful. We have them around us, and I feel the convenience, especially during this lockdown period. So in terms of local business, and you all know how much I love food. So, and especially for bakeries and desserts. And I remember it's around about like last week or the week before, I have been telling Matt like how craving I am to sourdough. Because the last time we have sourdough is way before the lockdown in an Italian restaurant. They have this most soft, chewy, warm sourdough with the truffle butter, and I really enjoyed that. So
who wouldn't enjoy that?
I know. So like I think last week I just been craving about it, and I've been telling Matt like, oh, where you can find the sourdough, and I just keep googling. I realized for all the websites I see online, any bakeries, you have to order at least $50 cake and bread plus then delivery fee. I was like, how I can?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like for two of us, $50 of bread, eating within a week.
Pretty much would just like undo all of your weight loss journey.
Exactly, right? So I was kind of, okay, it's just a craving. I will let it pass. Probably for like the brunch takeaway we have every Saturday, probably I will try toasty for that or in sourdough, right?
Not going to hit that spot, no.
I know. But however, somehow the universe must hear my calling. Okay, because suddenly on our community Facebook group, I think around Thursday, Friday, there's this local boutique bakery posting, say, oh, we're delivering local for free. And guess what? They have sourdough on their website. And like it's only cost $8.50. And I ordered it. And they literally deliver fresh on the day. We receive it today. It's still warm and still massive. And it's only $8.50, and I'm so happy. And it's good sourdough. It's definitely better than the one you bought from Coast, for sure. So I'm just really grateful. Like we have this kind of local business around us. So it's sometimes you do craving things and then deliver it to your door. It's such a convenience, and it's good for the local business as well. So that actually makes me really happy. And on top of that, it's not very local, but still it's like a boutique bakery or catering.
We'll just say cakery
something. So around like Inner West, right? So they have the similar signature selection box as Black Star Pastry. And which
was for those who don't know what that is, that was the cakes we talked about last week.
Exactly. The strawberry watermelon cake, still the number one cake in my heart. So
in all of our hearts. In all of our hearts.
Exactly. So I ordered that selection box to be delivered to us this weekend as my post-vaccine kind of reward cake. I'm having my vaccine tomorrow, and I'm so grateful. They actually deliver to our suburb because that shop is in Glebe. So Glebe is Glebe is 18 kilometers away from where we live, and because we're in lockdown, so we can't go out past 5 kilometers till where we live. But so that's why I'm so grateful. Because of these little shops and delivery drivers, we are able to have the food we crave for, and that will make us feel so brighten our weekend a little bit joyful, staying home, watching Olympics. So that's my second thing.
Yeah, you mentioned it briefly, but I think what's really nice about the local business and what they're offering with delivery and things like that is it really helps with all of the lockdowns that we're going through in New South Wales. So we didn't talk about this in our intro for once, but I'm bringing it up anyway. So we're in a even heavier lockdown than we have been in previous weeks in New South Wales, or at least Greater Sydney, unfortunately. Yeah. So like Yuna said, our area, we can't even go like 5Ks away and have to wear masks outside and all of these things, which is it's what we have to do. That's fine. I'm not complaining about that, but it does make it difficult because we can't really like indulge pretty much at all if we had to go and get all of this stuff, because it would just be like unnecessary risk, right? Yeah. But all these places that some of them don't even normally deliver that much.
Exactly.
But we're able to do that now during this time. Yeah. So that's really good.
Yeah. So I'm just really grateful. Like we have the option to have this tasty bakery and cakery delivered to us, right?
And I don't know if cakery is a word, but it sounds like it should be.
Make it up. Yeah. So that's my second thing that brings me joy this week. So Matt, what's your second thing?
So my second thing, I'm veering away from Olympics as well, just for temporarily. We'll be back there, don't worry. But my second thing is actually a movie trailer for the adaptation of the Dune novel. So for those of you who know what Dune is, you're probably already aware of this and probably have seen the trailer, because I think it came out like a week and a half ago now, but I've just started watching it again recently. So I say watching it again as if it's like a TV series. It's a 3-minute trailer, but it's super, super good. So just a bit of context for those who maybe don't know. So the Dune, which is a sci-fi novel that was released in 1965, at least the first one by Frank Herbert. It's considered by many to be one of the top science fiction books ever. There's lots of things that are sort of modeled after it. It's up there in that echelon with like Isaac Asimov books. It's just sort of one of those pinnacle pieces of literature. Won all sorts of awards. It has a whole bunch of sequels as well. I think there's like, oh gosh, I mean, a couple dozen at least like books in the entire series. Some of them were written by Frank Herbert, some by his son, and then some of it was written by someone else who sort of picked it up. They vary in quality after the first one, but the first book, really the first 3, I think, are some of the best pieces of like fiction I've ever read. Yeah. And I don't normally like science fiction that much. There's only a couple science fiction books I would put up there.
3 Body Problems.
3 Body Problem is one of them.
Exactly.
But we'll talk about that probably in the future. But Dune is definitely probably up tied for number 1 with my favorite sci-fi book. Yeah. So at least the first one.
When the movie will be out?
Well, so the movie will be out hopefully later this year. We'll see. It was supposed to come out, I think, sometime last year. Got pushed due to everything obviously going on. But I think it's due to come out in October, I want to say, is what the trailer had said. But the thing that's interesting actually about it is, I don't know if you know this, but the adaptation of this book has actually a kind of a interesting history to it. So it's been tried to be adapted multiple times, sometimes not at all, and then sometimes not very successfully. So hopefully this will be the change. Yeah. So the first time it was actually attempted to be adapted was around 1973. So a director and writer named Alejandro Jodorowsky, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Back then, he teamed up with this like all-star cast of, but all-star development crew of like different writers and creatives. Some of them were on even movies like Alien, I think, the designer was. And they worked on this thing, and he had this massive vision, because I think you tried to read it once.
Yeah, I was trying to listen to it from Audible.
Oh, it's tough with audiobook because of some of those names and places.
Yeah, I feel like for a book like Dune, you have to listen in one go. Otherwise, just confused. I just lose track of who's who.
We should try to find you like a Chinese translated version, maybe.
I'm pretty sure they have.
Yeah. Anyway. But you probably got far enough in to understand like the scope of it is massive. He creates a whole universe, basically. Yeah,
pretty much. It's very interesting at the beginning.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go into the plot too much, but just to kind of give setup, basically like it takes place about like 10 or 20,000 years in the future from like us. And so it's his time, it's in the far, far, far future, but it's a time when basically like humans have destroyed all remnants of technology. So there was this big event where basically like technology, there was like a big war between like computers and humans, basically. Yeah. Keep in mind, this was written in like the 50s and 60s. So there's like some of these concepts were a bit like kind of fuzzy. But I think the idea kind of holds where, humans basically had a huge war with technology and then basically swore not to rely on it for the rest of human history. So it's all done. Everything that's created is like kind of manual or analog or whatever you want to call it. But there's this one planet called Arrakis, and it's also nicknamed as Dune. It's basically this big desert planet. And it has this material called the spice, which basically can be used to have all sorts of effects, and basically it can allow humans to travel to other planets. It can allow people to do crazy levels of calculation that normally only a computer could do, and it has all these different things. And it's the only planet where this thing can be found is this planet Dune. Yeah. And so most of the series of books it's about
the spices, right, in Dune?
The spice, yeah. So most of the series of books revolves around sort of the struggle for control of this planet, because it's the only place. It's like a limited resource, basically. So that's sort of like the setup, and there's all sorts of characters and all this thing. Yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, the original attempt at this from Jodorowsky was he made this insanely long script. It was, some people thought it would, like, his vision would have taken like a 14-hour movie to watch. Like, it was insane. And eventually it just got too big to control, and for financial reasons it was canceled. And the funny thing about that is there was a documentary about this failed adaptation that came out like a few years ago that ended up winning awards on its own. It's called like Jodorowsky's Dune. If anyone's interested in that, I would definitely like look that up. It might still be on Netflix. I'm not sure. But it's very interesting. The second time that this was attempted to be adapted was in 1984 with a director named David Lynch at the helm. And you probably don't know who that is. Yeah. So I don't know if you know who David Lynch is, Yuna.
Maybe I know. Maybe,
possibly. But he's known for making these very, very like bizarre, like non-linear stories. They're really, really weird and like creepy. I don't think you would like it. And I don't even like him that much, but has a distinct style, that's for sure. And the movie came out, and I think this was before I was born, but for people who maybe did see that and were alive then, and you probably remember it being a very, very strange movie, kind of in line with David Lynch's sensibility. And it was just it's one of those weird movies that like some people kind of look back on it fondly, and it's like what they call like a cult classic. So that was one adaptation, and then I think it's kind of the rights have kind of changed hands a few times since then. Finally, in 2008, was when Paramount Pictures announced they had a new film adaptation of Dune developed with a director named Peter Berg. He dropped out in 2009. Another director was signed on in 2010. Then that project was dropped in 2011. So another failed attempt. Finally, in 2016, a company called Legendary Entertainment acquired the film and TV rights.
Yeah.
And in December 2016, a director named, I'm going to butcher this, Denis Villeneuve, I think he's like a French name. I don't know how to say that. But he was in negotiations to direct it, and that was confirmed the following year. And then in the years since then, there's been a little bit of like teaser and leaks, but not very much of anything until finally they dropped this like crazy trailer a few months ago, just like kind of a short teaser. And then this 3-minute trailer that I'll put a link to this in the show notes that just came out recently. And there's a lot of reasons that this makes me joyful. Obviously, I love the book, and I would love to see like a kind of epic story, like on the level of like of like, you know, a Lord of the Rings, for example, where it's just this, it can be like a pinnacle of filmmaking.
Yeah, and Marvel as well? Not really Marvel?
Different, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because I
wouldn't...
wouldn't...
only Lord of the Rings is up in the alley?
No, okay, well, I don't want to get into this debate or anything, because everyone has different opinions on this. It's different, because I wouldn't consider, like, I watched, like, the Avengers is, like, kind of just, like, summer fun, like a blockbuster movie. Yeah. Whereas something like Lord of the Rings, or so another movie, some other movies that by Denis Villeneuve, the same director that I like quite a bit. He was responsible for Blade Runner 2048, which was the sequel to the original Blade Runner from ages ago. But I love that movie. He's known for doing these like very like grand, wide scenes and building these universes and like taking his time with the pacing of a movie. And then he has an eye for like just big, beautiful like scenes, creating these worlds that really draw you in and like make you feel like you're in this place, which is that's what Lord of the Rings did to me, for example, when I was a kid, because they're creating an entire world, entire universe, and you really feel like it's not all action all the time. It's like he's really creating this thing that you feel invested in, and he like meticulously crafts it. He did another movie that was very, very popular, or I wouldn't say popular, but very well done, called Arrival. It's a sci-fi movie and so like he has a track record of like handling these things really well. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, that this is going to be like living up to the book and the feelings I got when I read the book. And I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen like a movie adaptation of like a book or another property that I really thought was like, whoa, this is amazing. I mean, the last one I can really think of is Lord of the Rings, honestly. I guess you could consider maybe some of the Marvel movies are up there, but like I'm not super familiar with like the comic book sources for those. Whereas in this case, I am pretty familiar with these books. So yeah, I'm just super excited to actually finally see that coming out after waiting for so long, and hopefully we can see that in a cinema. That's the hope. Yeah, we'll see where we're at in October. Yeah. You never know. Also, the other thing with this trailer is like they have all sorts of like stars in it. Like, did you know that Jason Momoa, who's Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones and Aquaman? Yes. So he's actually in the movie, which I like didn't expect to see that. Who else is in there? So I'm trying to think who else you might know. Oh, Zendaya is in it. Oh, Zendaya's in there. Mary Jane. Yeah, she's in it. She's in it as one of a really good character. Yeah. There's a couple other. I don't know if you will know the actors or not, but there's a couple other big names. Like one of the Skarsgård brothers is in there. Timothy Chalamet is the lead. Paul Atreides. So yeah, there's a lot of like names that I recognize at least from other movies, and this is like one of those movies that I hope is like a kind of a once in like a decade kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everything's looking promising. The trailer is like totally just rad. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. Let's just hope like that the movie is as exciting as the trailer.
We'll see. Yeah. There's always a danger it wouldn't be.
There's always danger.
But this director has a good track record, so I'm confident. So yeah, that's my second thing. Just my nerdy media thing for the week. I feel like I have at least one of those.
Oh, who doesn't like
week.
science fiction? I love science fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, what is your third thing today?
So my third thing is very simple. It's inspired by the past week's Olympic Games I've been watching. So my third thing is the Olympic spirit. So let's play a game. Do you know?
Oh, another game. hang on, wait. Like leave some space for the theme song that I'm definitely going to use to introduce games. All right, let's go.
Do you know what is the Olympic spirit? Don't Google.
Do I know what it is?
Yes.
Well, I mean, like in general terms.
In general terms, tell me.
I mean, it's like just the spirit of like friendly competition and representing your country and athleticism, peak human whatever and something. Word for word, that's what it says. I guarantee. That's engraved on something somewhere.
Yeah. So like I've been Googling this and I felt the Olympic creed actually summarized the Olympic spirit really well. So which is the most important thing in the Olympic Games is not to win, but to take part. Just as the most important thing in life is not to triumph, but the struggle. The essential thing is not to have conquered, but to have fought well.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this beautifully summarizes what is the Olympic spirit. Based on the games I've been watching for the past few days, I've seen this more and more. Like say for example, right, the German player Dima from the table tennis who has won the bronze, right? The way he fought, he know he's facing a difficult game with Malone, but he tried, and also with the Chinese Taipei player Lin Mingru. So, but he fight his best. He tried so hard, and the spirit he brings is no matter what the result is, I tried my best, and I tried to play a good game and to give whatever I can to give, right? And in the end, when I saw he took the bronze, he cried and so much. I just feel like all the years of effort, he finally did it, right? And he shows that. So he's the one of the player, right? But also like because, of course, my background's Chinese, so I pay much more attention to the Chinese game and players. And another table tennis player, which is the singles women gold medal, Chen Meng.
Oh yeah.
And she is over 30. I think she's 30 years old, and this year is her first year to be in Olympic. And he has been in that team for over 13 years.
Yeah.
What kind of dedication as like athletes? You have to stay in that team. You have to show your love to that team and to keep on going, training day after day for 13 years just to be in the Olympics. So I'm really super happy to see her winning for that. And another player. It's called it's a 200-meter individual medley for the swimming. A Chinese swimmer called Wang Shun, right? So he again, I think is close to 30 as well. Although his name, like in Chinese, means it's lucky, it's going to be smooth future, right? But his swimming journey is not smooth. It's really tough journey for him to get on this stage. And as we all know, in swimming, Australia, US are the stronger team, right? It's really hard for Asian team to be on the top. It's only a handful of them, right? But we never thought like we could win a medal in this game, and the reason this man keep going is just the love for swimming. And he truly loves it. He keep trying it.
Yeah.
And he just keep trying, keep going, no matter what the result is. And in the end, he win the gold, right? And also another one I have to mention. Okay. Sorry, just so many of them, the games. And there is a Chinese swimmer, female swimmer called Zhang Yufei. She won the silver, her first medal for this Tokyo Olympics. He won the silver for 200-meter butterfly. Like, although it's not gold, but she's still super happy. She won a silver because that means the hard work she has done for the past few years paid off, right? But in the end, this girl is amazing. She won the medal for one of the swim game as well, and also she won the 200 times 4 relay medal.
Was that the one where all three teams set the world record?
So she won that
China,
as well.
Australia, and US. Yeah. They all like this. They came 1, 2, and 3. So gold, silver, bronze in the 4x200 women's, right?
Yeah.
And literally all three of them set world records.
Exactly.
In doing that, which just shows the level of competition too.
Yeah, there are just so many players, right? And I have to say, for the Australia. One of the Australia Olympians, Jessica Fox.
Oh, so I was gonna jump in there.
Oh yeah, say about that. So
yeah.
Matt can fill in, but she perfectly fits this Olympic spirit as well.
Yeah, so this is an Olympian from Australia named Jessica Fox. This is still my number one moment from this Olympics. This isn't my third thing, but I think it follows in with the theme of this Olympic spirit, Yuna.
Yeah.
So. She's in her mid-20s. I think either she's like 27 or something like that, I want to say. And so she takes part in it's sort of a niche event. So it's the canoe and kayak slalom. So the C1 and K1 women's slalom, which for those who don't know what that is, basically it's sort of, they build this water feature that's sort of like a rapids. So, like when you go down like the whitewater rafting, but they build that like sort of, so it's consistent for everybody and they have like waves and it's still really rough waters. And they have these gates that hang down and you basically have to go, it's like a ski slalom. So you have to go through and go under each gate. Some of the gates are positioned where you actually have to go paddling upstream to get through it.
Yeah.
And it's just a time trial to see who can do it fastest. So this woman has won, I believe it was a silver.
Silver and a bronze before.
Yeah. So she won a silver in 2012. And then in Rio, she got a bronze in the K1.
Yeah.
This year she had got a bronze in the K1 in the kayaking a few days ago, earlier in the week, which was it was a devastating loss because in the preliminaries before that, in the semifinals, she was the fastest, I'm pretty sure, like by a pretty wide margin. But then in the finals, they just take the top 10 of those, and she was on a pretty flawless run. And then I think like the edge of the gate like hit her ponytail or something when she was coming down. Yeah. And if you hit a gate, it's like a 2-second penalty.
Yeah.
And that dropped her down to a bronze, which is still, I mean, obviously that's respectable, but like it's something that she'd been going after to sort of complete that collection. The bronze,
so
silver,
like
gold.
Almost more than 12 years, right?
Exactly.
Just keep trying.
Yeah. And so later in the week, this was on Thursday, right? I think.
Yeah.
Was it Thursday? So. They have another event. It's actually new this year, which is the women's C1 slalom. So it's the same as the kayak, except you're in a canoe. So there's just different types of boats and different types of paddle, but similar type of course. And again, in the semifinal heats, she was like the fastest by like 7 seconds. I mean, it was insane. But she's sort of known historically for like sort of folding a bit in the finals. And in the finals, I mean, the way it played out was really cool because the way that the way that they order the finals, the order of when the girls go is how fast they were in the semis. And she was the fastest. So that means she goes last basically. And early, I think it was like the first or second woman was this one from Great Britain. She had basically like an impeccable run, what it looked like. She didn't hit anything. She didn't stumble at all. And literally after that, every single woman that went after her was like 15, 20 seconds short. Some of them even more because like they missed a thing.
Yeah.
And so like
no one, missed the gate or something.
She was already like, because until the whole thing is done, they put whoever's on top like sort of standing above the rest.
Yeah.
And so they kept going back to her and like, it's like, oh, like I got this. And then Jess Fox got up there and she had this look in her eyes of just like pure intensity, like so focused.
Yeah.
And then she just absolutely nailed the course. She didn't like mess up a single thing. She got every gate. She like got everything exactly like it was supposed to. And she ended up beating the the British girls score by like 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, like that's a pretty like commanding victory.
Yeah.
And just to add on top of that, and this really goes towards the Olympic spirit, her dad was actually commentating.
Yeah, it's so sweet. And her dad is ex-Olympian as well, right?
Yeah, so her dad, and I think her mom as well, are ex-Olympians in the same sport from however many years ago. And he was commentating on it. And you really need to like look up a video of this because it's pretty funny because her dad is like this really kind of stoic guy. Like he's like very like keen, level-headed, calm.
Yeah.
And as she was like going through it was clear that she would get the gold.
Yeah.
The co-commentator from the Channel 7 was trying to like prompt her dad to like show some more emotion. And he was just like, yeah, she did really good out there, and it's like pretty flawless,
right? But I think that's what you need for as a competitor out there.
Like if like I had a daughter that was doing that, there's no way I would be like, oh yeah, I would be like blowing the microphones up if I was on that. Anyway, that was a tangent, like a little bit, but like I think it embodies what your thing is, the Olympic spirit, right?
And like I have to make a correction. Actually, the Chinese swimmer Zhang Yufei, she won the silver in the 100 swim butterfly, but a gold in the 200-meter swim butterfly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have to get my facts right.
You got to get those facts right. Yeah.
Exactly.
People come here for facts after all.
And I have to say, it's like if you can get a medal, that's great, right? But if you can't get a medal, that's fine as well. As long as you fought well, and as long as you show respect to each of the other players and bring us the best game to watch, I think that's great. To bring the Olympic Games to the whole world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's my blood thing.
And now everyone is going to know pretty much every Chinese player now because of that.
No, there's still a lot I haven't mentioned, but I just want to mention a few. Yeah, we can save it. And so, Matt, what's your last thing?
So my last thing, we're going back to the Olympics again, so I'm sorry about that, but I think this is one of those, this might actually be one of the few somewhat controversial topics that we ever talk about. I don't know.
No,
I don't think it should be controversial, but I've definitely seen comments about it.
Yeah.
So my third thing is Simone Biles.
Yeah.
And probably if you're listening to this and you have any knowledge of Olympics at all, you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. So for those who maybe don't know, Simone Biles is basically, I mean, at this point, she's already considered like probably the greatest of all time in gymnastics.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah. So she has countless medals. She's like invented like new tricks. Like one funny thing I read is that like there was apparently some like manga or anime artist who was actually making like some kind of like superhero story and was like using her moves as like inspiration for that. Like it's to that level. Like she's one of those like once in like a several generation kind of like gymnasts. And for those who watch gymnastics, like for someone to be even above like the average, Olympic gymnast is like crazy. Like it's insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
But there was something that happened this past week where basically she'd obviously come to the Olympics and was all hyped up for the 2020/2021 Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah.
But then actually withdrew near the beginning of the group women's artistic gymnastics.
Yeah, and we're actually watching that live.
Yeah, we watched it live. I'm sure lots of people probably saw this live. So basically she went up and she tried to do, for those who don't know what the artistic team gymnastics is, basically there's 4 people on each team and they go through like a series of, I think it's like 6 different like apparatus. So like the high beams and the double bars and the floor routines, all these different ones. So she did, I think the one that she did was the beam at the beginning, I want to say. I think it was beam, either beam or vault. And she landed very awkwardly and like got like a really, really low score. And then basically she disappeared and then came back out in like a tracksuit and it was announced that she was done. And it was her 3 teammates were the ones that were just going to pick it up for the rest of it. And there was all this controversy like, oh, what happened? Is she like injured or whatever? So there was actually a statement, I'm just going to read it directly. So put out by her gymnastics team from USA Gymnastics. And it says, after further medical evaluation, Simone Biles has withdrawn from the final individual all-around competition. We wholeheartedly support Simone's decision and applaud her bravery in prioritizing her well-being. Her courage shows, yet again, why she is a role model for so many.
Yeah.
So this statement was taken multiple ways by different people, depending on your viewpoint, I think, because this is a very hot-button topic, I think, with athletes sort of prioritizing mental health over sort of like the championships, basically. Yeah. So there was like another recent example was it wasn't in the Olympics, but beforehand, with Naomi Osaka, who's the top one of the top 2 women's players, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
Depending how you rank it. But she was, I think she was at the time, but this was before Ash Barty won.
Before Ash Barty, yeah.
But yeah, so like she like refused to talk to the press at one point, and then like she got fined for it because she like, it's apparently in some athletes like contract to like have media showings.
Yeah.
And she like refused to, and just because she didn't want to deal with that, because some of the things that they ask are like, you know, just over the top and they very invasive, and which I'm on board with that. Like I agree with that. Some of the press conferences I've watched with athletes are just so stupid.
Yeah.
And that's a different topic. So like this is starting to come up like a slightly more often. In a press conference on a couple days after this, on Tuesday this past week, Simone Biles was quoted as saying, so this is the quote: "I say put mental health first, because if you don't, then you're not going to enjoy your sport and you're not going to succeed as much as you want to. Yeah. So it's okay sometimes to even sit out the big competitions to focus on yourself, because it shows how strong of a competitor and person that you really are, rather than just battle through it."
Yeah. So like, I think I've seen how she responds, right? I think it took great courage for her to admit it, like you're not okay, right? And I feel like I understand why this brings will be Matt 3 thing. It's because Simone Biles shows an example, say even if you're on the top of your field, but still it's okay that if you're not okay. And it's okay if you want to look after your mental health and before your country's gold, the pride, because you have to look after yourself before you can do stuff for people around you, right? And people has to know in gymnastics, if your body doesn't align with your mind, it's not in sync, you will massively injure through your competition, right?
Yeah.
And if she's injured, that would be a massive devastation for herself, her family, for the team, for US gymnastic industry, right? So I think she's very brave. She sets a good example for people to understand it's actually okay not to be okay, as long as you admit it, you face it, and you try to be better at it. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, and I'm going to close on this with a quote that sort of talks about this, but I think one of the things that's so great about this is that she realizes, and I don't know if this was intentional on her part, but I'm not totally sure, because I mean, Simone is Simone, but her actions also indicate like her role as a role model.
Yes.
To not just like young gymnasts, but just like young people, young women, young black women,
yeah,
you know, pretty much anyone, I think, but especially those demographics, that like you can prioritize yourself. You should prioritize yourself. Like even if you're like I have to say, like even especially if you're like an athlete at the very, very, very top of your game like that, because at the end of the day, she's still a person.
Yeah. Like
she still has to shoulder the average like stresses and anxieties of life and all that. And, you know, it's easy for people to say like, oh, well, you know, she's an Olympic athlete. She should be like fighting through that. Like look at all these other examples of like athletes in the past who like did their events on like a broken foot or whatever. There's like some cases of that happening in various sports, but I think gymnastics is particularly bad about that from what I understand. But to me, all that says is, well, that's maybe those people were just like pressured into it, and like maybe they shouldn't have done that. Like who, like, you know, maybe they should be prioritizing themselves as well to some extent.
I actually have different opinion than Matt here, because I feel it's all about your personal choice, right? Some people can fight through it.
I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I'm just saying there could be cases in the past where this wasn't as accepted, where maybe it was their personal choice if they had a choice.
Yeah.
That they wanted to take care of themselves, but they couldn't. And there's probably people, I'm you know, like if you're in a game and you're injured and you really genuinely feel I can keep going and still perform, but you know, that's power to you.
But I feel like for general public, right, they're more acceptance when you see a physical damage to the Olympians, and if they don't compete. But for Simone, because her issue is the mental, right, and people doesn't realize that and give her the negative
exactly, because they don't know the story.
It's unfair.
It's unfair.
Right? Yeah.
And she was brave to come out like that.
But the reason we Matt bring that to the three things because her braveness and she is truly a role model to the young women out there, right? Yeah. And young men as well.
And young men. Yeah. Everyone. Even me.
Yes, and even me.
Even old men like me. Yeah. I think we're running a bit long on this one, but I do want to close on just a quote from, so this is from the Instagram of Nastya Lukin, who is another famous gymnast who's won several medals in the past.
Yeah.
I think she's been retired for a bit, but she's still active in the gymnastics world. So she posted something on Instagram after Simone Biles' statement. I just want to kind of close on this. So she says, "Dear Simone, thank you. Thank you for showing the depth of who you are beyond an athlete as a leader, role model, mental health warrior, and person. Thank you for epitomizing what the next generation of role models should be. Thank you for creating a safer space for current and future athletes to unequivocally be themselves. Thank you for helping the world realize that prioritizing your physical and mental health is the mark of a true champion. Thank you for illuminating that nobody is defined by the depth of their trophy case, and that you don't owe anything to anyone but yourself and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you for taking the sport of gymnastics to new heights as the unanimous GOAT, greatest of all time. No one will be remembered for any single routine, competition, or medal. You, however, will undeniably be remembered by many for the compassion and bravery shown here in Tokyo. You came here as a gymnast and you're leaving as a hero." I just think that's beautiful and sums it up from from a colleague in her field, right? So
yeah, definitely.
So that's my third thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think people are tired of hearing our thoughts about the Olympics.
I know. Clearly, we're a huge fan of this.
We may potentially have a couple more topics next week, depending on how this following week shakes out. We'll see. Yeah. Most of my favorite things have happened already, but we do have all the track and field left to go.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So I think we should wrap it up because I think we're actually late for watching a badminton match now.
I think we're very late. Probably we know the result already.
We'll catch the ending. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been the show. So you can find us at our3things.com. You can see all the episodes there, find out more about us, as well as where you can find the show. It's pretty much on every platform. If you are listening to the show and you do enjoy it, would be appreciate if you could jump on Apple Podcasts, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, and drop a rating, drop a review. Let us know what you think. Even if you hate it, let us know. We want haters. If you have haters, that's a good thing, right? In theory, right? People are listening.
Which means actually, Lisa,
Yeah. So yeah. Drop us a line. Tell us how you're feeling. Tell us what's making you happy. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Sounds great.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we can wrap it up.
All right, let's wrap it up then. But before we go, please remember,
our fourth thing
is you. Yay! Bye.
Bye.
红人留下枕上白发。